Actually, it's just it's warmer. It's been warmer up there than it's been here. Everybody always says it's so cold. No, it's exactly weather. No, in the winter it's colder, but in the summer it's actually hotter. The other day it was like 101 here, it's 112 up here. No, it's high.
All right, I think we're ready to go ahead and bring that class in. That class 1 Angus heifers.
Last year we got a lot more. It's a different cold up there.
Class 2 Angus heifers, you should be ringside and ready. Class 2 Angus heifers, let's have those heifers up here and ready to go. Steer exhibitors, if you are planning on selling a steer in the auction this week, we have forms for you to sign, for you and your parents to sign up here at the announcer stand. We will be signing those steers up all day today during the show, and then we will sign them up for a half hour after we complete the grand drive. So if you are selling a steer this year, please make sure you come up with a parent and get that form signed up and get those steers signed up for the auction. You've got all day today during the show, and then 30 minutes after the grand drive is complete tonight.
Two heifers in here to start off our Angus heifer division, and we'll just leave them on the profile and how they stand. It's how I like them. Young man up front that will win the class, I think, has a heifer that just in terms of maternal body and just feminine look to her, I like quite a bit. I like how she transitions from her head and her neck back into her forerib, and just the sweep that she presents back into her flank line. I don't know that she's necessarily perfect in terms of her top line when you ask her to go. I still think she's plenty mobile. I do think she wants to just drop ever so slightly right there at her loin edge when you ask her to go. Still really maternal heifer to lead off and win the class. Little bigger version heifer that comes out here in second. Definitely in terms of length of body, she has that advantage. I guess for me, just a little bit too much. If you read her at the bottom side of her skeleton, just gets a bit harder, more concave in terms of her rib shape. Still two nice females. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Now ready for that Class 2 Angus heifers. Class 2 Angus heifers. Class 3 Angus heifers, please be getting ready, heading towards the ring. Your placings for that Class 1. Placing first was Garrett Haven. Placing second was Brooklyn Oliver. Garrett Haven's calf was Putnam County bred. So that calf placed first in the Putnam County Bred Known show. So for those of you who don't know, as we show the calves in your program, we've notated whether those calves were born in Putnam County. So we will be placing those calves as we have those classes, so we'll announce those results as well. Our judge today is Mr. Zach Barton-Slager. Zach grew up on a commercial cow-calf operation in Lewisburg, West Virginia. He attended Hutchinson Community College, where he was on the livestock judging team, and then transferred to Ohio State University, where he was a member of the 2014 livestock judging team there. Zach then completed his master's degree at the University of Tennessee, where he is currently the livestock judging coach, as well as the animal science professor.
I think a really good class here for females that are presented, and I guess for me, the one that I like the best, I think kind of does so, winning a class pretty handedly, and young man does a nice job with a heifer that I guess is, for me, on the front side of it, I think she is just a little bit bigger in terms of her kind, but I still think that in terms of how she handles herself, in terms of body depth, she's still more than adequate there, and then just in terms of look and presence within the class, I think she's bar none. That's the up-headed heifer that in terms of transit is really, really good. I like that one quite a bit. Heifer coming in second, I guess she gives up just a little bit more in terms of heart and flank there, and I'll be the first to admit that. And I think if you're okay with how she is, I do call her adequate in terms of body depth. I like that one just as much in terms of her head shape and her neck shape. I think she's really good from that standpoint. Ultimately, I do think she gets beat, though, just in terms of the drop and feel that she has down low. I think when you ask that one to go, she gets just a bit more tentative in how she hits out of her rear, too. Big, bold, massive heifer coming here in third. I think really practical in terms of her kind, and I like those things about her. I guess she just gets a bit more generic or common in terms of her look for me. I think that one just maybe gets just a bit rounder in terms of her shape. Still, I think the young man has a very practical, functional type heifer that comes there in third. Heifer comes out in fourth. I certainly think a lot of use in that one in terms of mass and volume. I guess to me that one gets just a bit too short and compact in her kind. I'd like to freshen her up just a little bit from a condition standpoint. Young man's heifer will round out the class. Has plenty of length and extension to her. I think that one just needs rearranged on either end of her skeleton to go any higher. Still a nice class of females. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Now ready for Class 3 Angus heifers. Class 3 Angus heifers. Class 4, be making your way to the ring. Class 4 Angus heifers, please be headed to the ring. Placings for that last class. First place was Jackson Heyman. Second place was Jackson Heyman. Third place was Fred Mann. Fourth place Wyatt Bell. And fifth place Case and Ames. All of those heifers were born in Putnam County, so your placings would be the same.
think, again, another nice class of females here, and the one that wins, to me, wins pretty handedly in terms of just body and look. I think that one excels the class, and really, I think just to take it a step further in terms of how she is opened up in terms from a mass standpoint, still puts it yet in a really refined feminine package, I think is so good. Congratulations to that young exhibitor. Heifer comes out in second. I think 2 and 3 get really close, and if you like them a different way, I won't argue with you. I guess to me, I'll sacrifice a little bit of muscle, but the heifer in second kind of gives up to the 1 and third. I think she just lays in just a bit neater and smoother in terms of her kind. She is a bit frailer and more refined in terms of her presence, and that is where the heifer in third has that advantage. I think she's bigger in terms of her foot and bone and has just a shot more pin width to her, but I think at the same time she gets just a little bit rounder on either end and maybe just coarser in her appearance. Still a nice class of females. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Now ready for Class 4 Angus heifers. Class 4 Angus heifers. If you had a first or second place in the previous classes, please have those heifers towards the ring for the champion drive. Placings for that last class. First place went to Garrett Haven. Second place, Sarah Furman. Third place, Sarah Furman.
I think a good class of females here, and we'll leave them how they stand and to talk about the young man's heifer that wins the class. I think this one, just in terms of femininity and refinement, I think she certainly has that advantage within the class, and I think it comes back not only in terms of her shoulder blade, but then how she transitions back in terms of her muscle shape, and really even in terms of teeth structure there too. I think that one just has just a bit more maternal, feminine type character to her. Not to take anything away from the heifer in second, because I think that one's really bold and massive in terms of her rib cage there. I think that one just gets a bit coarser in terms of her kind, her shoulder blade, and even there in terms of teeth structure. I think that one just maybe just gets a bit more coarse. Still, two nice, really females. Congratulations.
We're now ready to judge for Champion Angus heifer. If we can get those class winners from class 1, 2, and 3 back in the ring. Results from class 4, first place was Kason Ames, second place Layla Hazlett. Class 5 Charolais heifers should be getting ready and heading towards the ring. Class 5 Charolais heifers should be heading towards the ring. Let's go ahead and bring those Angus heifers in.
I think a really nice lineup of Angus females out here, and just 4 classes, but I think those 4 classes certainly had some things to do in there and some easy things to do, and I think it's pretty evident of that as we bring the cattle back out. And I'm not sure that they match up entirely just the same, and I'm okay with that because I think those were the quality individuals within their respective class. And I'll just tell you real quick, because some of those classes were a little bit smaller, of kind of what I'm thinking out here. We've got a heifer out of that first class that I like quite a bit, just in terms of her look and presence and still having a maternal type body to her. We talked about if we're going to change or tweak that heifer, I think she still could be better or stronger right there at her loin edge and how she transitions back out into her tail head. And I think if anything, we can kind of see that one maybe just being a nickel shorter hip as she comes out in comparison to some other cattle out here. But still, I like that one a lot from a maternal body standpoint, just having a fresh type look to her as well. I think that one's really, really nice. Young man that comes out of that second class there, I think has a heifer that in terms of length and extension, we like a lot of those things about her. And we talked about even with that added length and extension, she still fills her body out correctly. I think when it does come out, she comes out here in comparison to some other cattle, I still think she is a nickel bigger, and really for my liking, probably on the too big of that side, but still, I like that one a lot in terms of length and extension, just how she balanced up there from the profile. Heifer comes out at third class, a lot to like in that one in terms of rib cage and body shape. I think she's really good, and then how she takes that back and still a really good look and balanced type proportional look there from the side view. I think if anything, when that heifer goes, I think she is just a little bit slower out of her hip and how she hits it out of her hind leg. I think that she's plenty functional though in comparison to some other cattle out here. Heifer comes out of that last class. We liked a lot of things about her in terms of that feminine, refined look. Not sure she has just enough true width and mass and volume to her to compete with some other cattle. Still, I think a really nice female. I think a nice lineup of Angus heifers. I'll go out and I'll show you which 2 I like best. If you would, give these exhibitors a nice round of applause.
We need Sarah Furman from Class 3. Your champion Angus heifer exhibited by Garrett Haven. We need that second place calf out of Class 3, Sarah Furman. Reserve champion Angus heifer also goes to Garrett Haven. That heifer was Putnam County raised. She will be your champion Putnam County Angus heifer. Your reserve champion Putnam County is Jackson Heyman out of Class 2. Congratulations to those kids. We're now ready for that Class 5 Charolais heifers. This is our only class of Charolais heifers today. They're both born in Putnam County. Your champion Angus heifer banner was sponsored by Ken and Bev Tour. Your Putnam County champion Angus heifer was sponsored by Ron Alcorn family. Let's appreciate those sponsors. Class 6 Kini and Heifers, you should be ringside and ready. Class 6 Kini and Heifers, please be ringside and ready. Class 7, you should be making your way to the ring.
early class of Charolais here, so our grand and reserve will come out of them, and I'll just talk about them briefly real quick in no particular order. Young man's heifer, it stands up front, I think is one that in terms of just being stout and opened up, I think she has plenty of muscle to her. I think that muscle comes more in the shape of kind of a round type shape to her. Maybe that compensates for the fact making her just a little bit harder in terms of her body cavity, maybe not filling out in terms of that flesh and her bottom line there, but still, I think that young man's got a heifer, it's got plenty of muscle and power in that one. Young lady's got a heifer, it's wanting to give her a time right now, but I think it's in terms of cow power, there's a lot to like in that one, just how bold and open up she is in her rib cage, but still plenty of drop and feel and how she transitions back into her flank line. And then when the young lady gets the split-eared heifer set up there on the profile, I think there's a lot to like and admire about that heifer. She'll be your champion. Young man, you'll have reserve. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Grace Fry, champion Charolais heifer. That is also your Putnam County champion Charolais heifer. Jackson Heyman exhibited your reserve champion Charolais heifer, also a Putnam County bred calf. We're now ready for that class 6 Kini heifers. Class 6 Kini heifers. Our sponsors for those Charolais awards. Champion Charolais was sponsored by the Jim Samsel family, and the champion Putnam County Charolais was sponsored by Samsel Cattle Company. Let's appreciate those folks.
I think a nice class of heifers on the key side of things, get started off, and I think there's a place to start with the heifer that wins, and I think that one really kind of embodies maybe some things or combines some things of the heifers that stand behind her, of still having enough muscle and mass to her, but putting it in a good package there from the side. I think a heifer, it's plenty flexible in terms of how she goes. I think a really nice place to start. 2 and 3 get really close in my mind, and if you disagree with me, I wouldn't argue with you at all. I guess to me, the heifer ends up second, needs to be more feminine, refined in her appearance, especially at the top side of her neck there. I think that heifer does give up some body and some mass, so the heifer comes in third, and if that's kind of the thing that you gravitate towards, I won't argue with you. I think that one gets incredibly coarse, though, in her appearance. I think that one gets really cresty at the top side of her neck. I think you can go either way on those two and three heifers there, but still a nice class of females. Congratulations.
We're ready for Class 7 Kini and Heifers. Class 7 Key Heifers. Class 8 Jacob Pearl. Please have that heifer ringside and ready. Placings on Class 6. First place went to Douglas Riggin. Second place Brock Haven. And third place was Evan Davies, all Putnam County born calves.
Tough class of females here to sort through, and I guess the one that I come back to win, I think, just has the most feminine-like characteristics to her. I think that one certainly, in terms of the body shape down low, that one's the most filled out from a maternal perspective. I'm not sure that she's perfect in terms of how she goes. I think she needs to be just a bit more square in how she handles her hip and down into her hock. I still think that one's feminine, refined, and got some maternal-like characteristics to her. Ultimately, that's why she goes ahead and wins. Young lady ends up second here with the black heifer is one that in terms of muscle and power, I like a lot of things about that one. I guess to me, that one just gets a bit too coarse in terms of her kind, like to the one that ends up third. To me, she does still sit in just a little bit flatter at the point of her shoulder, and certainly how she comes back into her forerib, I think she's a good bit better there. Heifer ends up third. I like the fact that this one's got plenty of flex and comfort there at her hock and down into her pastern. Really big in terms of her foot and bone work. I guess to me this one just becomes too coarse in her overall appearance. That one gets shorter and jammed up about her neck and how she comes down to the point of her shoulder. I think likewise that one gets really, really hard in terms of her center rib and body. Still a nice class of females. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Now ready for Class 8 Kini and Heifer. Class 8 Kini and Heifer. Class 9 Hereford Heifer. You should be ringside. Class 9 Hereford Heifer should be ringside. Placings on that last class. First place went to Emily Mann. Second place Callie Buckman. Third place Boston Clark. In the Putnam County show, Emily Mann was also first place. Boston Clark was second. Keep those first and second place animals close to the ring and ready to come back in for champion, please.
Nice single entry here, and the young man's got a heifer that I think is just very functional in terms of her kind. I like this one for her length of body and her added extension, and still how she progresses and fills out in terms of her forerib back into her flank line. Just a really nice female. Congratulations to that exhibitor.
Winner of Class 8 is Jacob Pearl. That calf was also born in Putnam County. We're now ready to show for champion Kini and Hereford.
I think three nice class winners out here, and certainly some variation in terms of type and kind. And real quickly run through them. The heifer comes out of that first class. We talked about how she combines some different things together. Not only the fact that she's got plenty of muscle and the right shape of muscle in her, but then also the fact that she puts it in still a feminine, refined package there from the side view, very correct, and from a balance and aesthetic standpoint. Heifer comes out at second class, a tougher class, and then we talked about that one having the right type of flesh and right type of body to her. I guess the biggest thing that we talked about on that heifer that maybe she just doesn't come exactly correct out of her hip and her hind leg when she's asked to go. We can square her up just there as she goes from you. Heifer comes out at last class, single entry there, really long, extended, a good kind of cattle, very functional in her appearance, one that's got plenty of depth of body to her, maybe one that just gets a bit plainer in terms of her kind as she comes out here. Folks, I think there's really only one option out here for our key division. Young man out of the first class will be your champion. Congratulations.
We need Brock Havens, second place calf out of class 6.
for reserve, I would be lying to you to tell you that. I think it's just really straightforward and that there's an easy answer out here. I think there's cattle that all have some differences, and we pull that second place heifer back in, and I told you all in class that I thought 2 and 3 got really close, and what you decided to do there, and ultimately we went back to that heifer just for a feminine, refined look, and I think that's what she does have an advantage out here for, is for that feminine look and how refined that she is in terms of her features. She takes it maybe just a bit more extreme in terms of giving up some mass down low, and certainly in terms of foot and bone size. That heifer's still pretty young yet, and hopefully that one will continue to mature and progress in terms of her body cavity. I think that heifer, though, in terms of just fitting the mold of the one that wins, she's the one I like second best. Congratulations.
Your champion, Kini and Hereford, was exhibited by Douglas Riggin. That is also your Putnam County champion. Reserve was exhibited by Brock Haven, which is also your Putnam County Reserve. Now ready for Class 9 Hereford Heifers. Sponsors for those Kini awards for the champion Kini, that was sponsored by the Anthony Haven family. Champion Putnam County Kini heifer sponsored by J&N Feeds.
I think a nice single entry to start off our Hereford division out here, and the view I like the best on the heifer is come here on the side view in terms of how she balances and proportions out. I think she's extremely good. A young heifer that still, I think, reads good in terms of her lower body and her maturity pattern. The young man does a really nice job with that female. Congratulations.
Now ready for Class 10 Hereford Heifers. Class 10, Class 11 Hereford Heifers should be coming to the ring. Class 11 Hereford Heifers, please be making your way to the ring. Winning that Class 9 Hereford Heifer class was Jaden Simpson.
nice class of Hereford heifers here, and actually a little difference in terms of some size, and that's because of the breed that they really are. And the heifer that ends up winning the class is certainly at an advantage from a performance perspective. But let's set that aside for a second and just talk about the cow power that one has in her. I mean, that one's really opened up in terms of her rib cage, and I like a lot of how she transitions back from there into her pin set and how true and opened up she is at the ground. If anything, I think we can freshen her up just a bit in terms from a condition standpoint. Still like her a lot, though, in terms of her cow utility that she presents. Miniature Hereford here that comes out, obviously performance-wise is at a disadvantage. I think we set that aside, though, and I think, besides that, I think the heifer, although she's got some feminine-like characteristics to her and reads pretty fresh in terms of her head and neck and how she transitions, I think that one maybe just gets a bit rounder out of her hip and more frail at the ground. So I think the young lady does a really nice job with that heifer. Congratulations.
Now ready for Class 11 Hereford heifers. If you had a first or second place in those first two classes, please keep them close and ready to show for champion. Class 11 Hereford heifers. Class 12 Maine Anjou heifers. Please be making your way to the ring. Class 12 Maine heifers. Make your way to the ring. Placings in that Class 10, first place went to Grace Fry. That calf was also a Putnam County calf. Second place, Allison Baston.
Nice trio of Herefords here, and I think the heifer that comes out and wins does pretty easily in my mind. And I would be remiss to not tell you that I think that heifer needs to be better out of her front end, and in particular, I think that one, not so much from an extension standpoint or how she sets into her shoulder blade. I think both of those things are acceptable and I can live with. I guess the biggest thing for me is that one at the top of her neck maybe gets just a little bit more cresty there, and then now she starts to drop out in her chest floor, maybe just kind of throws her off. And in particular, I think it throws off her underline there of how she comes back in her forehead. reason behind telling you that, I think if you could set that aside, that one there's no question in terms of body shape, she's the best within the class, and then how she uses her knee and how she comes out of her front skeleton, I think is very good. Still a nice female to win the class. The heifer comes second, I think, is just on the bigger side of things for me and starts to give up some body and rib shape down low. I do like the fact that that one reads just a bit more feminine, refined up front. I think that one does have some added length and extension to her. I think ultimately, though, that one just starts to work to her disadvantage from a power and mass standpoint down low. Heifer comes out in 3. I like some things about that one too, and she certainly reads to have some muscle shape to her. I think that one's starting to get just a little bit heavier condition and start to drop out in terms of her chest floor there. And I still think in terms of her body shape down low, I think that one maybe just gets a nickel harder there. Still, I like the heifers. Congratulations to the exhibitors.
Now ready to bring those first place heifers back in and show for champion Hereford heifer. Placings in that last class, Jaden Simpson first, Seth Thompson second, and first place Putnam County. Graham Clark second, third, and second place Putnam County.
Nice lineup of class winners out here on the Hereford side of things, and we'll talk again just real briefly through the cattle, and especially from a comparative sense. Young man's heifer comes out as a single entry of that first class, so we talked a lot about just how that one looks and comes together there from the side view. Really balanced, really proportional in terms of her lines, and still has more than enough in terms of body depth and just some mass to her to appreciate the cow value in that one on down the road. Heifer comes out at second class. We liked a lot in terms of cow value, and just in particular from her shoulder back. That one's really opened up in terms of her rib cage and how she comes back to her pin sets. Very, very good. We talked about that one just having a little extra flesh to her, and maybe that makes her just look a little bit staler, in particular out to her head and down through her neck. I'd still like to lay that one back just a nickel in terms of her shoulder blade and down into her knee. Heifer comes out at third class. We were kind of critical on her when we were talking her in that first place position, because I want to make note that there is some problems with her and how she transitions, but I still think there's a lot of good in that one too. And I think just in terms of being a cow first, I think that one's still flexible in terms of her kind, and certainly has the right kind of rib cage in her. Maybe just from a balance perspective, she gets thrown off with that chest down there and how she transitions back into her bottom line there. Still, I think 3 nice females out here. I think that there's one that's just a surefire bet within this lineup. Young man, first class, you'll be champion. It does. It makes it really tough there for reserve, and I'd be lying to you to tell you that I think that it's straightforward in how you go about that. I guess to me, the one that still blends and matches just a bit better in terms of their kind and how they come out of their chest back into their flank line. Young lady from that second class, you'll be reserved. Congratulations. Your champion Hereford heifer was exhibited by Jaden Simpson.
Reserve champion exhibited by Grace Fry. Grace Fry's is your Putnam County champion, which will make Seth Thompson out of Class 11 your Putnam County Reserve. We are now ready for that Maine Anjou class, Class 12. Class 13 maintainer heifer. Class 13 maintainer heifer should be at the ring. Class 14 maintainer heifers should be headed to the ring at this time. Class 13 should be at the ring. Class 14 should be making their way. Sponsors for our champion Hereford was provided by Sherman Hacker family. The Putnam County banner was sponsored by the Garrett Thompson family, so we appreciate their support as well.
Our only class within the main division here, so we'll talk about them individually, and then I'll tell you kind of what I'm thinking for champion reserve. Yeah, again, in no particular order, the young ladies heifer that comes in first. Like a lot of things about that one in terms of her added length and extension up front. I think that one remains feminine, refined in terms of her appearance and coming back into a deep, soft flank there. If anything, I think that heifer needs to be cleaner in terms of her joint work down low, especially when that one leaves you and goes away. I think she just gets a bit coarser down in terms of her rear hocks. Heifer stands behind her. I like a lot of things about her as well. Really opened up and muscular in terms of her kind. I do think that makes her just a bit coarser in terms of her appearance. I think that's a shorter neck heifer. It kind of opens up into a bigger point of shoulder. I think that one too kind of gets a little bit coarse there at her hock. I like the young ladies heifer up front to be champion. Young man, she'll be reserved. Congratulations.
Now ready for Class 13 maintainer heifers. Your champion Maine Anjou heifer was exhibited by Boston Clark. Reserve champion Will Busher. Both of those calves were Putnam County born. So Boston Clark also had your Putnam County champion Maine Anjou, with Will Busher receiving your reserve. Sponsors for those Maine Anjou awards. The champion Maine Anjou was sponsored by Hodgen Farms. Champion Putnam County Maine heifer was sponsored by Rick and Rhonda Woodall.
A functional single entry heifer here for the young lady, and one I think's got plenty of body and depth to her. I think one can get out and reach her stride just comfortably enough. One that maybe gets just a bit coarser there at her navel and maybe throws her off just from a balance perspective. Still, I think the young lady does a really nice job. Congratulations.
Winning Class 13 was Liliana Stanley. We're now ready for Class 14 Maintainer Heifers. Class 14 Maintainer Heifers, Class 15, you should be ringside. Class 15, you should be ringside.
Of Maine.
Yeah.
What's the tainer?
I think it's just maintaining or I don't think it's a mix of anything. It's just a percentage.
It's okay.
Yeah, but they actually canceled it because they think it might be fertile cell. And then they get the results from that Thursday. So, but now she's going to get the MRI. After the headache. Because I get the rest. Usually she'll do the therapy, I guess, and then we'll find out more Thursday. She was tired yesterday. She went to a good nap and she'll be back and home better.
Interesting class of maintainer heifers here, and I think the heifer comes out and wins, does so pretty handedly. The Blue Roan, I think, in terms of feminine look and appearance, certainly excels the class, and just a highly presented heifer that all of her transitions are just so good here on the profile. And you know, that's not to say that I think that heifer in terms of foot and bone is the best, but certainly I think she's more than adequate. Really like how that one has a feminine refined appearance, comes together in a nice proportional look. Heifer comes out too. I think there's a lot of discussion between the bottom three. I guess the one for me that just most comfortably comes in second is in terms of feet and leg structure, the one, the red heifer here in second. You know, by no means am I saying that she's perfect, especially there at the point of her shoulder. I think that she could maybe just be a bit flatter and neater there, but I think in terms of hip and hind leg structure, she certainly takes the nod there from that perspective, and I think a heifer still has a nice balanced look there on the profile. That's not to say that she's the boldest and most massive within the class, because I think the heifer that comes here in 3 certainly has that advantage. That's a big, high-performing heifer. It's really opened up in terms of her kind. I guess for me, that one just gets rounder out to her hip. That one wants to roll in terms of how she goes out of her rear skeleton. Ultimately, that's why I put her down. heifer comes out in fourth. That's one really opened up in terms of her lower cavity. Heifer that I certainly like from that perspective. I guess she's just too quick in terms of her appearance for me. I think that one gets shorter and more jammed up in terms of her kind. So, a nice class of heifers. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Ready for class 15, maintainer heifers. Results of that last class: first place, Ethan Ham; second place, Jacob Pearl; third place was Garrett Hutchison. Garrett Hutchison was first place, Putnam County. Fourth place was Braden Mann. Braden Mann was second place, Putnam County.
A good balance, good profiling heifer, single entry here that I think is really proportional in terms of her appearance. I like her a lot in terms of the length and extension she has out of her front third and how she comes back out through her top line and out through her hip and hind leg. Nice heifer. We'll see her out here in just a second.
Now ready to bring those first place calves from class 13 and 14 back in the ring. Please have your second place animal from class 14 ready to come in the ring.
Good lineup of maintainer females out here, and again, we'll talk about them one by one. Young lady that has the heifer that comes out at first class, one that we talked about that had some nice pieces to her, certainly one that's got some depth of body to her, maybe one that just gets a little coarser in her appearance in places, in particular there at her navel, and then how she comes out through her tailhead there, maybe just makes her just a little bit off from a balance perspective, but still a nice female she brings out of that first class. Blue Roan heifer, it comes out at class of 4, and one that we talked about just kind of wins the class pretty handedly. One that's so good in terms of her lines and how she balances up out here. Really like that one a lot from a maternal perspective. Heifer comes out at last class, single entry, and we like a lot of things about her added length and extension. We like how she comes out of her top line and out to her hip and hind leg. If we want to change the heifer, I think we want to make her just a little flatter and neater at her shoulder blade, maybe square her up in terms of her front tube. Still, I think a nice female to come out for a lineup of 3. To me, there's no question. I think there's only one option out here. Young man with the Blue Roan heifer will be champion. Congratulations.
Jacob Pearl winning your second place heifer out of class 14. Champion maintainer heifer was exhibited by Ethan Ham. sponsor for that award was Cox Trucking Services.
I think things can maybe get a little more difficult if you'd like them to be here for reserve, but I guess ultimately, even with the red heifer coming back out, you know, we talked about some things that we like in that one, but we talked about also that those bottom three in that class were maybe just a little bit more challenging in which way did you go. I think for me, there's one just from a balance perspective and one that has the right type of pieces to her. Maybe a place or two we need to tweak her. Heifer comes out of that last class will be reserved. Congratulations.
Garrett Hutchison, we will need your calf in here for reserve, Putnam County. Reserve champion maintainer heifer was exhibited by Parker Hacker. That is also your Putnam County champion maintainer heifer. We are now showing for reserve champion Putnam County born heifer. Your reserve Putnam County born maintainer heifer exhibited by Liliana Stanley. Now ready for class 16 red Angus heifer.
Just a single entry on the red Angus side, and so ultimately the young man will be champion out here. Talk about the heifer real quickly before she exits the ring. I think one that's got plenty of feminine, female-like character to her, especially through her head and her neck and how she comes back into her shoulder blade. I think one that, you know, in terms of how she moves, I think maybe can pick up just a little bit there at her loin edge and roll out of her head. Still, I think a functional female. Excited to see her back this evening in the Grand Drive. Congratulations.
Your champion red Angus heifer exhibited by Bentley Downing. That calf was a Putnam County born calf, so that's also your Putnam County champion. Now ready for the Red Poll heifer, class 17. Earlier, your maintainer Putnam County champion banner was sponsored by Poet Biorefining. Your red Angus awards were sponsored by Ron and Jane Alcorn and SimSolution Livestock, David and Katie Samsel. So we appreciate those folks.
just a single entry in the Red Poll division, and I think a heifer that's got plenty of functionality from her feet and leg structure, one that can certainly get out and hit her stride on the go. Maybe one that just gets a little plainer in terms of her appearance. Still think the young lady does a nice job. Congratulations to your grand champion, Red Poll.
That heifer was exhibited by Ashley Miller with the award sponsored by the Rodney Simpson family. We are now ready for Class 18 Shorthorn heifer. Class 18 Shorthorn heifer. Class 19 Shorthorn heifer should be ringside and ready. Should also be making way with those Shorthorn Plus heifers, Class 20.
Really nice single entry to start off our Shorthorn division, and I think one that just in terms of quality is the first thing that I think of. I think one on the profile, it's certainly got a unique silhouette and how she transitions out of her shoulder blade and back into her forerib and flank line. And then I think if you step in behind the cattle and she's still really stout and opened up, just real type of fresh appearance to her. Excited to see her back here in just a second. Congratulations.
Winner of Class 18 was Katie Fry. We're now ready for Class 19 Shorthorn heifer. Class 20 Shorthorn Plus heifer. Please be making your way to the ring. Class 20 Shorthorn Plus heifers.
Another nice single entry here, and I think a heifer that's got plenty of depth of body and fleshing ability to her. I think the short switch heifer maybe can be just shaped up a bit in terms of her toe length there. Still, I think a nice, easy fleshing type female. Congratulations.
Now coming for champion Putnam, champion Shorthorn heifer.
Out for selection of our champion Shorthorn heifer. And, you know, we talked about them just for there real quickly. I think from a comparison standpoint, the heifer comes out of that first class. We talked about quality in that one is really, really good. How that one transitions, I think, is just really nice in terms of how she comes out of her shoulder blade and back into her forerib and flank line. Like that a lot from a structure standpoint on that one too. Really fresh type heifer. Heifer that stands behind her, we talked about that she's really easy fleshing and like those things about her. Maybe just needs shaped up in terms of her toe length there. Could square off on both ends of her skeleton. I think the one that just comes out and gravitates you pretty quickly. Young lady out first class will be champion. Young lady behind her will be reserved.
Your champion Shorthorn heifer exhibited by Katie Fry. Reserve exhibited by Mallory Miner. Mallory Miners is a Putnam County bred heifer, and she'll be your Putnam County champion Shorthorn heifer. We're now ready for that Class 20 Shorthorn Plus heifers. Those Shorthorn Awards were sponsored by the Jim Samsel family with the Putnam County champion Shorthorn, sponsored by the Harcourt family.
Just 2 females per Shorthorn Plus division, and we'll talk about them real quickly as they come in the ring, and then I'll tell you what I like for champion and reserve. Young lady is up front here that comes in first with her heifer, I think is one that just is really good in terms of body shape and maternal value in that one. And I think for as much as she's opened up in terms of her kind, she's really opened up in her pin set there. I still think that one gives a feminine type look there from the profile in terms of being up-headed, long extended, and how she transitions to the top side of her shoulder there. I think she's got a little extra in terms of condition, and I guess that's where the black heifer that stands behind her certainly has that advantage. That one's just a bit fresher in terms of her appearance. I think at the same time, though, that one gets just a bit crestier right at the top of her neck. I think that one in terms of just structure, that one maybe gets just a bit more outside of herself when she goes, especially when she goes away from you. Still, I think 2 really nice females. Heifer up front, young lady, you'll have champion. Young man, you'll have reserve. Congratulations.
Your champion Shorthorn Plus heifer is exhibited by Grace Fry. Reserve champion shown by Parker Hacker. Parker's calf was a Putnam County calf, so Parker Hacker is the exhibitor of your Putnam County born Shorthorn Plus heifer. We're now ready for that class 21 Simmental heifer. Your Shorthorn Plus awards were donated by the Merkel family Shorthorns, with the Putnam County Award donated by Renee Marsteller family.
Nice profile and single entry here for the young man, and I think one there from the side view is very, very good in terms of how she transitions. I like that one a lot too. When you get rated behind her, I think she reads really square and genuine from the top of her hip down to the base of her skeleton. Really nice single entry. Congratulations to that young man.
Winner of class 21 was Parker Hacker. We're ready for class 22 Simmental heifers. Junior leaders would like for me to announce that they are ready to start serving some pulled pork sandwiches. I'm assuming you also have loaded baked potatoes and all of that stuff. So they've got baked potatoes, loaded baked potatoes, a pulled pork baked potato, sounds pretty good. And also hot dogs, nachos, and beverages, and all the other things you can imagine. So they are open and ready to serve. Just a reminder for you steer exhibitors, you can sign up your steers for the auction at any time today through the Grand Drive. We will take those entries 30 minutes following the Grand Drive. So if you're selling a steer, please come to the announcer stand with a parent and get those steers signed up today. We also have nomination cards and a nomination box for next year's beef barn superintendent. So if you have someone you want to nominate for that job, or you want to nominate yourself, those cards in that box is up here at the announcer stand, and that'll also be available through the Grand Drive tonight.
Nice class of females here, nice duo, and we'll leave them how they come in the ring. Young ladies heifer that'll lead us off here. I think just in terms of body and mass, really good from that standpoint. Big in terms of her foot and bone, and really heavy structured. And I think that's pretty apparent when you ask that heifer to get out on the go. I think she's very flexible and fluid in terms of how she hits her stride. Like the female quite a bit. Congratulations. Heifer comes in second, the Blaze Face heifer. I like the fact that she's really opened up in her center cavity. I think that one's really bold and dimensional in terms of her kind. I guess for me, that one just gets a bit shorter and more compact in her look. That one gets a little bit coarser in her appearance, and when we ask that one to go, I think that one just gets a little bit more hesitant out of the front step, out of her front shoulder. Still, nice class of females. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
We're now ready for Class 23 Simmental heifers. Placings for Class 22. First place was Grace Carr. Second place was Kennedy Clark. Kennedy's heifer was also a Putnam County bred, so she placed first place in the Putnam County bred show. Please have those class winners for Class 21 and Class 22 ringside. Class 21 and 22, first and second places should be ringside right now. SimSolution heifers, Class 24, should be getting ready and making their way to the arena as well.
Class of heifers here, and quite the differences and contrast between the two, and we'll leave them how they stand. Young man's heifer that comes out and wins the class, I like that one just a bit more in terms of the maternal value that she presents. I think that one's definitely bolder in terms of her rib cage and how she sweeps and transitions from her forerib back into her flank line. Is she perfect? I'm not sure that's the case. I definitely would like to pick her up in terms of her chest floor there, and then on the profile, maybe just square her out from her loin back out to her hip. But I think one that's very functional in her kind, and certainly like the maternal fleshing ability that one presents. Heifer that stands in second certainly is a bit more up-headed, and then how she transitions to the top side of her shoulder is just a bit more unique in her appearance. I guess when that one goes is where it's evident for me that she needs to go second. Not only is she a bit tighter and harder in her body cavity, but that one's a bit more pulled down in terms of her loin edge and gets sharper in her tail head. So a nice class of females. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Now ready for those first place calves out of Class 21, 22, and 23 to show for champion Simmental heifer. Placings in that last class. First place went to Parker Hacker. Second place to Douglas Riggin.
Nice trio out here for our lineup in the Simmental division, and we'll talk about them real briefly. The young man that comes out of that first class, single entry there, and we talked about a lot of things that we like in that heifer in particular, how that one transitions and is balanced there from the profile. We like how square and true she is, how she reads out of the top of her hip down to the base of her skeleton. I think that one's really nice from that perspective. In comparison, when we bring her back out here, there's still some things that we can change. I do think that even though we like how she profiles, she still can be just a bit more correct in terms of the top shape of her neck and how she comes down to her shoulder blade there. And I think when we ask that one to go, although I still think that she's functional in her kind, I do think she's just a bit more hesitant, or maybe just even comes up just a little bit shorter there in terms of her stride. Still, I call her functional though, and I think there's a lot of good pieces in that one. Heifer comes out of that second class. We like that one just for how heavy structured she is. I think that one's really big in terms of her foot and bone work. That one, when you ask her to go, she certainly wants to grab another gear and kind of get up underneath of herself. And I don't think she does it too much, though. I still think that she reads to be correct in terms of her lines. If anything, I think the heifer at times maybe wants to do what she's doing right now and get just a little bit lazier on the young lady, and that can take away from a balance perspective. But I just think there's a lot of cow value in that one. Really like how heavy structured she is and open up in terms of her rib cage. Really correct type female comes out of that second class. Heifer comes out of third class. There's some decisions to be made there, and we like the fleshing ability in that one of the blaze face heifer. Really think that one in terms of just her body depth is really, really nice. She needs to be changed in some places though. We want to correct her in terms of her chest floor there. We certainly want to square her up and how she transitions from her shoulder blade back out to her hip. Still, I think three really nice females, some different ways you can go. I think the two that I like the best are standing out here right now. We'll go ahead and select them. Young lady out of that second class will be champion. Young man's out of that first class will be reserve. Congratulations.
Your champion, Simmental heifer, was exhibited by Grace Carr. Reserve champion, exhibited by Parker Hacker, which would also make Kennedy Clark your Putnam County champion, Simmental heifer.
nice single entry to start off our SimSolution division, and I think a heifer that's really extended up through her front third of her body and comes out really unique out of the top side of her shoulder. I think that one still has plenty of depth of body to go along with it. If anything, I think maybe at times she's just a bit rounder in how she handles her hip and hind leg on the go. So I think the young lady does a very nice job. Congratulations.
Placing first in that class was Brookley Oliver. We're now ready for class 25 SimSolution heifers. Your Simmental awards just given out. Champion Simmental was sponsored by Ocala Valley Farm, and Champion Putnam County Simmental was sponsored by SimSol Livestock, Dave and Katie Samsel.
Nice duo of females here, and I really like this red blaze face heifer quite a bit, and I like the fact that this one's so maternal first in terms of her body and rib shape, and then the fact that she comes together and still a really unique package here from the profile, and certainly doesn't hurt a thing. The young man's on the halter of this one, getting her prepared there from the side view, but I think that one, just in terms of transitions, is really good proportionality, like her quite a bit. Heifer comes in second. There's things I like in that one too. I like the rib shape that one has and the muscle pattern there from behind. I think this one maybe just gets too outside on her skeleton in particular in terms of her front shoulder blade and there at the ground. Still think the young lady does a nice job with that one. Congratulations.
Now ready for class 26 SimSolution heifer. Winning class 25 was Ethan Ham. Second place, Kennedy Clark. Kennedy Clark had your first place, Putnam County born. Class 27 Crossbred heifer should be at the ring. Class 27 should be at the ring. Class 28 should be making their way to the ring.
Nice single entry here for the young man, and one that's got plenty of length and extension to her and still comes down into a progressive body pattern down low in terms of rib cage from her forehead back into her flank line. Maybe one that's just a bit more tight in how she comes out of her hip and hind leg. Still, I think a quality female. Congratulations to that young exhibitor.
Class 26 winner, Parker Hacker. We're now ready for those first place SimSolution heifers out of class 24 and 25.
Another solid three that are out here for a SimSolution drive, and young lady's heifer comes out of that first class, and we liked a lot of things about that one, especially from her hip forward. We like the fact that that one's so extended up front and how she plants it to the top side of her shoulder and still coming back into a progressive body depth there, I think is really good. We want to change the heifer. We talked about that perhaps out through her hip, that she maybe just gets a little shorter around her there at times when we ask her to go. So I think a really nice female comes out of that first class. Heifer comes out of that second class, and we like her quite a bit just in terms of the cow power that she has, the maternal value that she presents, and still then putting it together in a really unique package there from the side view. And I think that one's transitions are just so good in terms of how she comes out of her shoulder blade and back out through her hip and her hind leg in particular. I like the fact that that one lets so level there from her hooks to her pins. Heifer comes out of that third class, like a lot of things about her as well, and we talked about that she's long and extended. We talked about maybe that she gets just a bit more tight in terms of how she uses her hip and hind leg on the go. Still, I think a really quality female comes out of that third class. To me, there's really just one option out here. There's one that I think just fits the mold in terms of having maternal value and still a really good look to go along with it. Young man out of that second class, you'll have her champion.
Kennedy Clark, we need your second place calf out of class 25. Champion SimSolution heifer was exhibited by Ethan Ham. That award was sponsored by the Ryan Clark family.
I think here for reserve things do get just a little bit closer at times, and you know, the heifer comes out of that class. We talked about, we like the rib shape in her, we like the pin width in her, and the muscle shape that she presents. Maybe she just needs to be a little flatter and neater in terms of her appearance, in particular right there at her shoulder blade and at the point of her shoulder, and then how she comes down out of her knee into her front skeleton. I think there's one though that if you're okay with the fact that maybe at times she can get just a little bit rounder out of her hip, she's still really good in terms of look and balance and presence and still have a maternal character to her. Young lady out of that first class, you'll be reserved. Congratulations.
Reserve champion exhibited by Brookley Oliver. Kennedy Clark exhibited your champion Putnam County SimSolution heifer. Kennedy's award was sponsored by Triple F Farms. We're now ready for that class 27 crossbred heifer. Class 27 crossbred heifer. Class 28, please be ringside. Class 28 crossbred heifers need to be ringside.
Didn't take long.
Young lady, single entry here, I think has some quality to it in terms of muscle and power. I think that one's really opened up in terms of her kind. Maybe one that gets just a little bit rounder, especially on the front part of her skeleton. So I think a quality calf. Young lady does a really, really good job. Congratulations.
Winner of class 27 crossbred heifers was Isabella Glaze. We're now ready for class 28. Class 29 crossbred heifers should be making their way to the arena. Just a reminder to all the exhibitors, we will be taking an hour break at the conclusion of the heifer show. We will take an hour for lunch.
bigger class of the day, and I think a real nice place to start with the female that wins. And you know, I like this one a lot in terms of just the sweep of rib that she presents there and just the aesthetic view that she gives you from there on the side. I think one is correct in terms of her lines and her angles and still has plenty of mass and volume to go along with it. Young man does a nice job. Congratulations. Heifer comes in second. Definitely the stout, powerful heifer of the class, and really like how opened up she is in her kind. For me, this one maybe gets just a bit more coarse in terms of her appearance, especially as you read her out of her head and how she comes down in her neck and her shoulder blade there. Still, I think a lot of power in that one. Like her from that standpoint. Heifer comes out in 3, certainly counters her in terms of length and extension and having a bit more grow and performance in her. Maybe one that just gets a bit more generic in terms of her kind, in particular how she comes out of her hip and hind leg there and having some extra set to it. Still, a young man does a nice job. Heifer coming out next. Again, plenty of length and extension in that female. I like the depth of body she presents. I think she just gets a little bit harder in terms of her rib cage there, in particular of how she transitions out of her shoulder blade back into her forerib. She wants to round out of her hip as well. Young man's Hereford appearing heifer comes out next. Plenty of length and extension. Just need a dropper in terms of her lower body depth there. Heifer is going to round out the class. I think one that's got plenty of length and extension as well. That one maybe just gets a little bit harder in terms of her kind. Maybe one that just needs a little more condition to compete with some cattle in the class. Still, nice class of females. Congratulations.
We're now ready for class 29 crossbred heifers. We need to have those class 27 and 28 first and second place heifers ringside and ready. Placings in your last class. First was Ethan Ham. Second place, Isabella Glaze. Third place was Logan Tumal. Fourth place exhibited by Logan Tumal. Fifth place exhibited by Gage Martellero. And sixth place shown by Blake Boyer. In your Putnam County division, first place was Ethan Ham. Second place was Isabella Glaze. Third place was Gage Martellero. And fourth place was Blake Boyer.
Some cattle that are maybe not wanting to cooperate as much out here makes it a little bit tougher. And, I think 4 cattle are pretty tough to get through myself. And, I guess I just come back to the female that, to me, if you're okay with the fact that she is a little bit on the moderate side of things and that she does push out in her chest floor, then besides that, I think she's the option to go with. I think that one is certainly the best in terms of her fleshing ability and just kind of having that cow type appearance to her in terms of her rib shape and how she transitions back into a big hip and a big foot and bone and how she travels about the ring. Heifer comes in second. I think this one is a really good balance and attractive. The young man gets that one soft and put together there on the side view. I think when that heifer's asked to lead, though, I think she does get just a little bit more rigid in her step out of her hip and hind leg there. I think she's just a bit flatter, more compact in terms of her rib cage. Heifer comes out next. She's really square and opened up at the backside of her skeleton. I think this one, though, is a little bit more forward in terms of her shoulder blade there. Consequently, I think it makes her overcompensate out of her step, out of her hip and hind leg. Just a little bit more tight and rigid than for my liking. Young man's heifer is going to come out next. Really long, extended, high-performing type female. One I think just gets kind of out-horsed from a power and mass standpoint. Young man does a really nice job. Congratulations.
We're now ready for those first place heifers out of class 27, 28, and 29. Showing for champion crossbred heifer. Placings in that last class: first place Parker Hacker, second Graham Clark, third place Parker Hacker, fourth place Wyatt Bell. In your Putnam County show, first place was Parker Hacker, second place was Wyatt Bell. Please have your Class 30 cow-calf pair ringside and ready. Class 30 cow-calf pair.
Three good females, 3 different kind of females without our crossbred division, and the young ladies that comes out of that first class, we talked about having some rib shape and power to her and still having a nice look there from the side. I think when she gets out here in terms of the comparison sense, I think she is maybe just a bit shorter and more jammed up, especially the front third of her body. Still like a lot of things about that heifer. Heifer comes out of the second class, the bigger class of the day. Really like that one in terms of the look and balance that she presents and still being more than adequate in terms of volume and mass. Really like the female character that one presents. heifer comes out at third class. We talked about being a little tougher and figuring out which direction you should go. I think it still holds true that one's really good fleshing. That one's got a lot of cow potential on down the road. Probably just in terms of her chest floor, we want to clean her up, maybe even just extend her out just a little bit more. I think they're three nice females. I think they're three different kind of cattle. The one that best suits me, the one that I think best fits the mold of just being complete. Young man's out at second class will be champion. Congratulations.
We need Isabella Glaze, second place calf out of class 28. Your champion crossbred heifer was exhibited by Ethan Ham. That heifer is a Putnam County born, so that will also be your Putnam County champion crossbred heifer.
I realize we've got a second that comes out of that class, but folks, I really think it does come down to those two cattle that we've got on either end of the heifer that stood here from the second class. And, in my mind, I think there's one on the far right that is just a little bit more coarser in her appearance, and then we've got one that's maybe just a little bit quicker in terms of her growth pattern, maturity pattern there. Still like the cow value that she presents, like the look and balance that she presents in terms of her lower body. Young man's heifer will be reserved. Congratulations.
Your reserve champion crossbred heifer was exhibited by Parker Hacker. We still have to select your reserve champion Putnam County heifer was exhibited by Isabella Glaze out of class 27. We're now ready for that class 30 cow-calf pair. Awards for your crossbred heifers. Champion crossbred heifer was sponsored by GHG Angus Farm, and your Putnam County champion was sponsored by the David Sutherland family.
Nice cow-calf pair here to kind of round things out on the female side of things until our grand drive this evening. And, our only cow-calf pair, and I still think a quality one, really young cow that's doing a very good job with her heifer calf at side. And I like the fact that the cow is so unique in her look and balance there from the side view and just remaining fresh in terms of her appearance with still having a really good calf at side. Congratulations to that young exhibitor. Really good job.
Your champion cow-calf pair was exhibited by Parker Hacker.